Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Going to do another reading from Gauranga, the Golden Incarnation of Divine Love by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. We're reading from the Jagannatha, Puri and later Pastimes. Swarup Damodar said, "Here is Balbhadra Bhattacharya who has great love for you. He is an honest, learned scholar and he is advanced in spiritual consciousness." Balbhadra Bhattacharya had love for Lord Chaitanya, which was the main quality. He was learned, honest and not duplicitous, and he was advanced in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said there is a Bengali saying, "Ati Bhakti Chorera Lakshan." Too much devotion is a symptom of a thief. A person who thinks himself to be a great devotee but mentally is thinking of something else is duplicitous. One who is not duplicitous is called sadhu. Swarup Damodar immediately pointed out that Balbhadra Bhattacharya was quite fit to accompany the Lord because he was a learned scholar and was simple and great and had great love. He was considered appropriate for accompanying the Lord as a personal servant. So Lord Chaitanya accepted the proposal of Swarup Damodar and he accepted Balbhadra Bhattacharya, who then fell at his feet and offered obeisances, and Lord Chaitanya gave him the blessing of love. Lord Chaitanya visited Lord Jagannatha and took his permission. Then after taking blessings from Lord Jagannatha, he struck out early in the morning with Balbhadra following him. In the morning, the devotees, unable to see him, began to search for him. Gauranga, Gauranga, where is Lord Chaitanya? While all the devotees were searching for the Lord, Swarup Damodar restrained them. Then everyone fell silent, knowing the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya entered into the forest, keeping the city of Katak on his right. He went in the solitary forest, chanting the holy name of Krishna. When Lord passed through the jungle, great packs of tigers, elephants, rhinoceros and boars came, and the Lord passed right through them. Balbhadra was very afraid to see them. But by Lord Chaitanya's influence, he gave the blessing of love to the animals, so they passed by. One day, a tiger was lying along the path that Lord Chaitanya was walking on. In ecstatic love, the Lord touched the tiger with his foot and said, "Chant the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna." Immediately, the tiger jumped up and began to dance and chanted Krishna, Krishna. On another day, all the animals disappeared because there was a herd of maddened elephants. Balbhadra fearfully ran behind Lord Chaitanya while he was bathing and chanting his Gayatri mantra in the water. Some elephants came before him and he splashed some water on them and he told them to chant Hare Krishna. The elephants were chanting Krishna, Krishna, jumping and dancing. Some of the elephants fell to the ground and rolled in ecstasy. They were screaming in ecstasy. Seeing this, Balbhadra Bhattacharya was astonished. Sometimes while Lord Chaitanya was passing through the jungle, chanting sweetly and loudly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, some female deer came over and licked the feet of Lord Chaitanya. Hearing the Lord's great vibration, all the does followed him left and right. Then the Lord recited a verse, and with great curiosity the deer came up to hear the verse. The does and bucks looked at Lord Chaitanya with great affection. While Lord Chaitanya was passing through the jungle, several tigers came, joining the deers, and tigers began to follow the Lord. Seeing the tigers and deer following him, Sri Chaitanya remembered Vrindavan. He began to recite a verse describing the wonderful qualities of Vrindavan. Vrindavan is the transcendental abode of the Lord. There is no hunger, anger or thirst there. Though naturally inimical human beings and fierce animals live together, there is therein transcendental friendship. Then Lord Chaitanya said, "Chant Hare Krishna," and the tigers and deer began to chant Krishna's name and dance. When all the tigers and does danced and jumped, Balbhadra Bhattacharya saw them and was struck with wonder. He jumped up and fell down in ecstasy. Then the tigers and deer began to embrace one another, and touching mouths, they began to kiss. When Lord Chaitanya saw all this fun, he began to smile. Finally, he left the animals and continued on his way. Various birds, including the peacock and swan, all saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to follow him, chanting and dancing. They were all maddened by the holy name of Krishna. When the Lord loudly chanted Haribol, the trees and creepers became jubilant to hear him. Prabhupada said that the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so powerful that it can even penetrate the ears of the trees and creepers, what to speak of the ears of animals and human beings. Thus all living entities in the forest of Jharikhand are, some moving and some standing still, became maddened by hearing the holy name of Lord Krishna vibrated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raghunath Das Goswami receives the mercy of Nitai Gaura. When Raghunath Das Goswami met Lord Chaitanya at Shantipur, he got some personal instructions from the Lord. Raghunath said to Lord Chaitanya, I want to give up my family life and come and join you. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I don't want you to leave your responsibility, your family, because many people will do the same. I'm not happy by this kind of behavior. This is like a monkey's renunciation. So instead of becoming a so-called renunciate, Raghunath Das followed the instructions of the Lord, returned home and played exactly like a materialistic man. Lord Chaitanya said that monkeys look very renounced, no clothes, living in a forest, but actually they are very big bhogis, big sense enjoyers. Rather, Lord Chaitanya said it is better to be inwardly Krishna conscious and outwardly look like a normal material person. Lord Chaitanya told Raghunath Das, keep your mind always in Krishna, but do your duties responsibly. Your father and mother will also become happy and they will think you are normal now. Raghunath Das's father and uncles were big landlords. They had to collect taxes for the emperor. That was the previous system 500 years ago in India. There was one king and he had many landlords who would collect the taxes from the area. Raghunath Das's uncle was a lord. He had his own army and own tax collectors. From his area, he was collecting 2 million gold coins. He was supposed to give 3/4 to the king and keep 1/4 for himself. But he gave only 1.2 million to the king and kept 800,000 gold coins. They were super rich people and they were very favorable to Lord Chaitanya and Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Raghunath Das Goswami was a pure devotee, and his father and uncle were almost devotees. They were also attached to other material things. Then Raghunath Das's uncle got caught by the government for keeping the 800,000 gold coins. One Chaudhary or the minister came to arrest his uncle and father, but they escaped because they had advanced warning. So then they arrested Raghunath Das as a hostage. This Chaudhary was previously a tax collector and had complained to the government. He was threatening to punish Raghunath Das, but really he actually didn't touch him. He was afraid because the family had so much influence. One day Raghunath Das told his Chaudhary, by looking at your beautiful face with a long beard, I think of my father. Actually, you are my uncle because you are a brother to my father. Brothers will sometimes fight. That is the nature of a brother, but don't know why my uncle and father don't give you something. I think you should also get something because you are their brother. If I get chance, I will tell them. Tears started pouring down from the beard of Muslim Chaudhary and he replied, Yes, I also feel that you are just like my son. Why are your father and uncle treating me like this? What you said is right. We should work something out. Then Raghunath Das arranged a meeting between the Chaudhary and his elders and somehow it worked out. Later Raghunath heard that Lord Chaitanya had come back from Mathura and he tried running away, but his father sent some men like Indra. Whatever he wants he can buy and have. If these things can't tie his mind down to the material world, then what can the parents do? Actually, Raghunath Das was mad after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was completely in love with Krishna. Then Raghunath Das got an idea. He went to Panihati where there he saw a large rock under a tree on the bank of the Ganges. Lord Nityananda was sitting as effulgent as hundreds of thousands of rising suns. Lord Nityananda was surrounded by all his pure devotees, great associates, and Brahmanas. He was very beautiful to see. Raghunath Das became astonished and offered his obeisances. Then one servant told the Lord, "There is Raghunath Das." Hearing this, Lord Nityananda Prabhu said, "You are a thief. Now you have to come to see me. Come here, come here. Today I shall punish you." Raghunath Das was still lying down, paying obeisances. Then Lord Nityananda came and caught him. He put his lotus feet on the head of Raghunath Das and he began the punishment. Nityananda Prabhu is by nature very funny, but he is also very merciful. He spoke to Raghunath Das, "You are like a thief, for instead of coming near, you stay away at a distant place. Now that I have captured you, I shall punish you." Then Lord Nityananda explained what was the punishment. "Make a festival and feed all my associates yogurt and chipped rice." This pastime is also known as Danda Mahotsav, the festival of punishment. Hearing this, Raghunath Das was very happy. He was a multi-millionaire, so giving yogurt, fruits, chipped rice for all the devotees was not a problem for him financially, but to get this chance, such a personal favor from Nityananda and his associates, he was very pleased. This so-called punishment for him was a great mercy. He couldn't even understand how great a mercy it was. So Raghunath Das went to buy mangoes, jackfruits, lychees, bananas, coconuts, and all the local fruits. Then he bought flat rice and big clay pots. He made 7 different varieties of flat rice fruit and other things for Lord Nityananda. In the pots was chipped rice, yogurt, sweetmeats, sandesh, rasgullas, cham-cham, and the pots were very beautifully decorated with different kinds of fruits and sweets. First Raghunath Das offered them to Krishna and then he gave them to Lord Nityananda. Nityananda had made a seat for Lord Chaitanya and he called Lord Chaitanya there by his mystic powers. He invited him to come and Lord Chaitanya came. He was there. So this big feast was going on in Panihati on the sides of the Ganges. Soon thousands of people started to gather. Raghunath Das gave everybody 2 pots, 1 pot with the yogurt mix and 1 pot with the condensed milk mix. Like this, so many people had pots and they were all eating the prasadam. Finally, all the land became filled with people. So many people came that some of them were standing in the mud on the side of the river. Lord Nityananda got in the mood that he was a cowherd boy with all his cowherd friends. More and more people were coming, so Raghunath Das got bigger pots for mixing. He sent out his servants to buy more yogurt, chipped rice, and fruits. Salesmen also started to come with bullock carts full of sweets and ingredients, and Raghunath Das would just buy everything from them and then also give them prasadam. They put banana, sugar, edible camphor, agaru scent, cardamom seeds, cardamom water, and flowers over some of the pots. This was a very special type of preparation. Lord Nityananda and the top preachers and associates from the spiritual world were all there getting pots from Raghunath Das. All the big Brahmins and Pandits came and all the VIPs were sitting around Nityananda. The senior devotees were getting all the preparations. This is the punishment for Raghunath. This is the punishment Raghunath Das got. Then Raghav Pandit came with lunch prasadam, rice and sabjis, all cooked in ghee, very wonderfully spiced, and kept it before Nityananda. Nityananda said, "No, take it back." Raghav Pandit said, "I brought you this prasadam. You please take your lunch. You are having a big festival here. If you don't eat, what's going to happen with this prasadam?" Then Lord Nityananda said, "I am going to eat this flat rice and yogurt for lunch in the afternoon. Then in the evening I will take this rice prasadam. I belong to a community of cowherd boys and therefore I generally have many cowherd associates with me. I'm happy when we eat together in a picnic like this by the sandy bank of the river." This was Nityananda's mood. When everyone got prasadam, Lord Nityananda brought Lord Chaitanya. By now there were thousands of devotees eating prasadam from the pots. Then Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya started walking amongst the devotees. Lord Chaitanya was invisible to most of them, but a few of the associates could see him. Nityananda accepted all the devotees, taking his flat rice preparation as his cowherd boy associates. Sometimes the cowherd boys share each other's lunch and take from each other. They don't follow all these rules and regulations, so he was taking from a pot and feeding Lord Chaitanya as a joke. Then Lord Chaitanya, he also took a morsel of food from someone's pot and put it in Nityananda's mouth. People were wondering what was going on. Lord Nityananda was taking some prasadam and putting in the air. Then prasadam was flying off from one pot into the air and going into Nityananda's mouth. It was like there was a magic going on. Nobody could understand what was happening. And nobody was speaking. Everyone was chanting, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And then someone wanted more. They called out, Hari Bol, you want more. Someone serving Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Simply the names of Krishna were chanted. So Nityananda took his prasadam remnants and Lord Chaitanya's prasadam, and all the Mahaprasadam was then given to Raghunath Das in 4 pots. Then these 4 pots he distributed to his assistants. They all got Nityananda's direct Mahaprasadam. Lord Chaitanya love melts the stones at Alanath. 15 days before the Rath Yatra festival begins, there is Snan Yatra, which is the bathing ceremony of Lord Jagannatha. After that festival is over, Jagannath sometimes catches cold and he doesn't see anybody for 15 days. Then when that happened, Lord Chaitanya felt so much separation that he was not going to see Lord Jagannath for 15 days, that he decided to have the darshan of the deity of Alanath, which is 11 kilometers away. So Lord Chaitanya was running full speed to Alanath temple, and all the devotees were running after him, but they couldn't keep up. He was the fastest runner. Nityananda was the next fastest, but he was far ahead of the others also. When the Lord reached the Alanath temple, there was a big stone floor, and he was burning in so much separation in love of Krishna that he immediately paid his prostrated obeisances before the Lord, crying in ecstasy. Because he was so overwhelmed with ecstasy, his obeisances were not straightforward. His arm was a little bent. He just fell on the floor, basically crying before the Lord, because the intensity of Krishna Prem was so powerful. Literally, the stone melted. In other words, Lord Chaitanya can melt stone by his love. That gives us all the hope that one day our stone-like hearts will be melted by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Govindas has prayed, Pashan Vidare, even the stones are melted by the Lord Chaitanya's love just by hearing the Lord Chaitanya, the glories of Lord Chaitanya. So we will continue from here onwards next time. Hare Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.